Yan, you're in. Hi, Mayor.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mayor.
Hi, good evening, Mayor. Good evening. Good evening.
How are all of you?
Good.
Okay naman.
We're blessed.
Ako. Ay, wait, wag muna. Hindi ko lang si Ed.
Tingnan ko lang keyboard ko.
Ano tayo? Recorded tayo?
Anytime now po. Meron lang tayo news break tapos kayo na po agad.
Pero ano to? Recorded siya, no?
Hindi po. Live po tayo.
Oh, live. Oh, okay.
Okay na, Aaron?
Okay na. Sound ko, walang sound. Okay.
So wala nang
Sir Robbie, kapag hindi po umabot si Sir Ed dahil nag-aayos po, baka ikaw na lang po
Okay.
yung...
Sige. Okay.
Ibigay na
Ito na po pala.
Okay na, Chef.
Yun, ano, kamusta na?
Okay na, sir. Okay na po.
Na, malinaw.
Okay na, sir.
Okay.
Wala nang ingay?
Ikaw po intro, ah.
Sorry?
Ikaw po intro.
Roger. Countdown ka, ah.
Sige po, sa Facebook na lang po.
Roger. Makes people dream of traveling, but it's an activity that may not happen until next year, according to the Department of Tourism.
Nestor, okay na yung ano, ha? Page 1, ha? Na ano ko lang.
Ilang minutes pa?
1 minute po. Sir Ed, nagme-message na po ako.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay. For the lang ba?
10 seconds. Staying at home makes people dream of traveling. It's an activity that may not happen until next year, according to the Department of Health. But what else can people do apart from dreaming in a time of special edition of the Chiefs? And with me right now are Luchi Cruz Valdez of News 5, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star, and Robbie Alampay of One News. Again, welcome back. It's almost May 1.
I
Oo
know.
nga. No. Long weekend. Long weekend
Long
bukas.
Holiday, di ba?
Sino magle-lay Boracay?
Ay, nako, wala makakapurakay.
Ha?
Bad news na. Bad news.
Sayang, yung speedo ko, nilabas ko na eh.
Huwag na.
Okay na. I-quarantine yan. I-quarantine po yan.
Hindi, at least bukas first day din ng general community quarantine, di ba? At least may
Yeah.
good
GTQ
news. Yeah,
for
lalo na
most of the country.
at yung mga simbahan pwede na mag-resume ng doon sa GCQ.
Yes,
Yeah,
but let's not forget what May 1 is all about. It's Labor Day. At maraming pangamba, maraming pag-iisipan, maraming kailangan pag-usapan pagdating sa mga
problema.
manggagawa natin, sa mga nagano. Oo.
Okay.
Diba?
May mag-rally ba? May nagbabalak bang mag-rally?
May
Bawal yun nata ngayon.
virtual rally. Ewan ko kung paano gagawin. Hindi natin alam. Puro, baka magkita-kita sila dun sa magte-telecom.
Maging marahas. Alam mo naman, marami ng mga nahuhuli na nagiging marahas, di ba?
Oo nga.
Mm.
Gagamitan na daw yata sila ng taser na lang. Ed, anong tingin mo doon?
Hindi.
Pwede
Mahal
ba yun?
ang taser. Ang taser may cartridge yun. Hindi yun reusable. You have to buy a new cartridge every time you use a taser.
Mm.
Bili na lang ng PPE kesa naman taser.
Oo.
But it depends again what type of taser you're referring to. Kasi may taser that fires yung electrical darts. Yun ang may cartridge. May taser na dinidikit mo sa tao, tapos kukuryentihin mo.
Oh, yun.
Ayun, mumurahin lang yun.
Pero human rights violation pa rin yun pag rally, di ba?
Pwede
Yeah.
ba yun? Taser ba
No.
yata eh?
Well, di ba yung police procedure calls for the minimum amount of violence necessary to enforce the law.
Oo, kaya nga.
Mm.
Baka, kasi sa ibang bansa, bakit ginagamit ang taser? Saka tayo, pwede tayong gumamit ng tubig. Di ba? Hose.
Yung hosting.
Oh,
Yeah.
pwede
Eh,
yan.
mahirap na kombinasyon yun na i-host mo tapos iti-taser mo kasi makukuryente kayong lahat.
Mm.
Siguro yung boss natin, matanong natin tungkol sa sa crowd control dun sa bayan niya. Hindi ba? Baka sa kanila merong ganon. May ganong problema.
Tapos beginning tomorrow nga yung GCQ as Ami said. Pero meron pang hindi clear dun sa GCQ eh. Like for example, DILG was telling us kanina na kailangan mag-issue ng new quarantine passes for the GCQ areas. Kasi pwede mo nang palabasin ng people from 21 to 59 years old.
Oo nga. Hindi, pati daw seniors pwede na.
Magkakaroon na ng exemptions for good news, fellow chiefs. Magkakaroon daw.
Oo nga.
Sino affected doon?
Para sa mga senior.
Basta nagtatrabaho or you're on errand for
I feel alluded to.
Okay. Patay ka dun. Ikaw Robbie, ah.
matitira na lang dyan yung mga senior na nasa wheelchair. Saka yung nagkikain. Kasi kung nagtatrabaho ka daw and you're on an essential errand, pwede na eh. So, wala kang matitira.
Yeah, but there may be a bit of confusion kasi DILG was saying that the DLGs will have to issue a new set of quarantine passes for all the people who are between 21 and 59 who can go out. But ang sabi naman ni Elazar, yung Task Force Shield Commander ng quarantine, wala nang passes basta you can prove your age. That shouldn't be a problem. Tapos magkakagulo yan sa mga checkpoints.
Yes.
Parang napakasimple lang, Parang napakasimple lang. Pero alam natin na, if the past weeks are anything to go by, alam natin that once it gets down to the municipal and city levels, and then when it gets down to the barangay level, and in some cases nga, to the level of your subdivision, iba-iba yung interpretation ng mga tao dyan.
Kaya kukuha na lang sila ng taser, no?
Alam mo sa Pinas hindi mauso yung taser eh. Baka i-host ka tapos i-itsahan ka ng extension cord na walang dulo.
Kayo naman, ina-assume nyo naman that any action tomorrow will be physical. Siyempre, lahat ng tao nangangamba rin sa social distancing. I mean, the real hope tomorrow is for the laborers, the workers, employers to be able to air their concerns, and there are many ways to do that. Kahit pa may ECQ, kahit pa may GCQ. Ang mahalaga, tandaan natin, it is a day to remember, and it is a timely day to reflect on what confronts and what is awaiting our people in the next weeks.
Especially because jobs are threatened right now. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, kailangan muna natin i-welcome ang ating first guest. I'm not sure if he is encountering problems in regard to the distribution of the Social Amelioration Fund, no? But we'll ask him. So we would like to welcome at this point San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora. Hi, sir.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening.
Ami and Ed. To everyone watching, good evening.
Okay, sir. Malaking usapin ngayon yung SAP. Kayo ba, are you encountering the same problems that majority of the LGUs are encountering?
Yes, definitely. Here in San Juan, we were given 16,309 SAP slots. And definitely, this number is not enough for those who are qualified under the DSWD guidelines. So it is a challenge on how to ensure that this number is spread in an equitable manner. In fact, what I did was, based on our population data in 2019, we divided the 16,309 among the 21 barangays so that no one will complain why this barangay got more, why this barangay got less, because it was distributed based on population. Now, if a barangay is not able to use up their slots because they're considered, for instance, a middle-class barangay, then the unused slots can be redistributed to other barangays that need it more. But of course, it's very challenging because often people will say, bakit kami hindi kasama? Mahirap din naman kami, wala rin kaming trabaho, apektado rin kami ng COVID-19. It's very hard to explain. And the DSWD gave a lot of guidelines as to who will fall within the category of qualified beneficiary. So we really just have to live with it and make the most out of this number. Now, what we had to do was we had to come up with our own funds to be able to cover for those who are qualified for SAP but were not part of the listing. And that's what we are doing now. We are just finishing the SAP payout first, and then once we are done and we see that there are still households that are qualified but were not included in the list, then we use our additional funding for them. It may not be as big as 8,000 from SAP, but it's still a substantial amount that can help them.
Okay, where did you get your list? Kasi po yung mga ibang bayan, wala silang listahan.
Okay, yung,
Filter out na yung mga 4Ps, yung mga tukod, kung ano-ano.
yes, yung 4Ps kasi automatic ano na sila, no, beneficiary na sila. So hindi na sila dapat masama dito sa SAP. So ang ginawa natin, nagpatulong tayo sa ating mga barangay captains sapagkat based on the joint memorandum circular, it's the barangay captain that is tasked to submit a list to the DSWD. So our barangay captains would have to do the survey on their own, umikot sila, nagpalista. They have to make sure that everyone they listed fall within the criteria given by the DSWD. So yung listing na nakuha natin ay base yan sa kanila, and then eventually our local DSWD along with the national representative of the DSWD also will then validate all these names. And then once they see that they are indeed qualified, the payroll for their barangay is then prepared, and then we execute a payout. So that is the process that we are doing here in San Juan. One very tricky aspect here is if you give 8,000 pesos to an unqualified beneficiary, they will have to return the amount. Paano kung nabili na ng gamot, pagkain, paano mo papapasoli sa kanila yan? At sino magre-reimburse ng 8,000? So ako, I made sure that the lists that were submitted to us were validated properly, double-checked, cross-checked by our local DSWD and the barangay officials to make sure that they're all qualified. Next, that there's no duplication. Hindi kasi pwedeng yung nanay, yung anak, yung kapatid, pare-parehong recipients, no? Hindi pwedeng ganon. So, yan ang very tedious and talagang matrabaho. And you know, you are doing all of this during a time when it is dangerous to go house to house. Siyempre, yung mga evaluators natin, mga validators, nag-iingat din. Ako, namatayan na ako ng isang staff ko sa mayor's office. So hindi ganun kadali yung sabihin mong magbabahay-bahay ka tapos mag-interview ka. Sapagkat at any point, pwede kang mahawa o manghawa. So all of these are the factors that really give all the mayors a hard time. And I know hindi ako nag-iisa rito sapagkat meron din kaming Viber group ng Metro Manila mayors. And all of us share the problems that we encountered and all the factors that affect the speed of the validation and distribution.
Mayor, kahapon
original
kausap
deadline
namin
po ng
si
SAP distribution
Nabotas
was supposed to be tonight, going over to tomorrow, but it was extended for one more week. But even then, nakailang percent na po kayo dun sa 16,000 allotment na binigay sa inyo ng DSWD?
No, mababa pa rin kami. Nasa around 12% pa lang kami, sa totoo lang. That's why we wrote Secretary Bautista of the DSWD a letter. All 17 mayors signed it, and we were supported by our MMDA chairman. We actually requested up to May 15 to give us up to 15 to be able to complete the payouts. However, what was given was 7 days. But
7 days.
We will make sure that in the next 7 days we will be able to complete this. I can speak for San Juan. No? Ang mahirap kasi talaga dyan yung validation. But once they're validated, tuloy-tuloy na yung payout yan eh. Medyo madali na yung payout. It's very ministerial. You just have to check sila talaga yung recipient, and you hand over the funds to them. Ang challenging talaga dyan, yung validation, sapagkat yung mga nililistan nila kapitan, no, yung mga barangay captain, magsasubmit sa nilang listahan, eventually kailangan pang i-cross-check yan. Just like what I said earlier, posibleng may duplication, posibleng may trabaho yung mga nilagay nila ron, no? Posibleng hindi qualified, tapos meron doon nagdo-duplicate within the family. So kailangan mo i-check yan. So ako, I'd rather go through the more careful route, no? Kasi pag masyado mong madaliin at mali-mali ang listahan mo, eventually tatagal ka rin eh. So ako, ang instructions ko, mas mabuti ng slowly but surely, because once we have a validated list, the payout will be very fast. So yung 7-day extension is enough for us here in San Juan.
Mayor, yesterday kausap namin Navotas Mayor Toby Chanco and Makati Mayor Abby Binay. And both of them were saying that from the very start, one problem they had was basically the national government, DSWD, basically saying, oh, ito yung budget, ito yung target numbers nyo. And then the guidelines were basically left to the LGUs to determine. In other words, malaki yung gap sa information. What exactly do we need to do? With that confusion on the one hand, at the same time, the pressure on LGUs to be accountable on the other. Ano yung attitude nyo sa San Juan? Are there things that you have to wait for, that you are still waiting for para tuluyang gumalaw itong SAP sa San Juan? Or do you have enough leeway to innovate on your own and to implement on your own?
Well, there's no leeway because the guidelines are in black and white. No? Ako kasi ang nature ko as a person, hindi kasi ako reckless. Kumbaga, maingat ako, lalo na accountable ako dito because I'm the mayor of San Juan and all of these funds, I am accountable because it is the funds of the national government passing through the local government. So hindi pwedeng bara-bara ito, hindi pwedeng reckless ka. That is why I told our and our local DSWD, mas mabuti nang wag tayo masyado magmadali. Kasi baka mali-mali ang masubmit natin. In the end, ipapasaoli yan, kakasuhan tayo, yung dapat nakatanggap, magagalit sapagat nagastusan niya, tapos isasoli pala. You know, all of this eventually will happen if you make mistakes. Now, since our city is small, paying out 16,309 people is not too difficult. Ang mahirap talaga, like what I said, is the validation, the cross-checking. But once all of these papers are in order, ministerial na lang yung pag-handover ng pondo sa kanila. So wala talaga masyadong leeway kasi meron po tayong guidelines sa sinusunod, although minsan nagbabago-bago. No? Yun din ang mahirap because we cannot physically meet the DSWD secretary all the time. The MMDA council cannot meet all the time. So halos ano lang talaga ang communication is through Zoom conference or through Viber. So sometimes marami kang gustong i-clarify, itanong, ngunit wala naman talagang pagkakataon na gawin ito. And most of the information that we get is really through Viber and through Zoom conference.
Mayor, saan bumabagal yung validation? Sa side ng barangay captain or sa side ng DSWD?
I'm sorry, Lucy, what's the question? Saan po nag-ano?
Saan bumabagal yung validation? Where's the bottleneck?
Okay. Actually, in both ends, no, merong bottleneck. Sapagkat ito ang reality din dyan. 16,309 lang yan. No? Si Kapitan, problema niya, sinong pipiliin niya? For instance, isang barangay, nabigyan siya kunwari ng 2,000 slots. No? Ngunit yung qualified para sa SAP, 5,000 sa barangay niya. Imagine how hard it is for the Kapitan to choose 2,000 from among 5,000 who are all qualified. So, siyempre meron ding pressure on his part na siguraduhin tama yung listahan niya. Ngayon, yung delay dito sa submission ni Kapitan, eventually, nung nakuha ng local DSWD natin for validation, siya naman kailangan maghabol, kailangan naman din i-cross-check sapagkat hindi naman lahat ng sinulat ni Kapitan ay talagang qualified. So, meron pa rin tayong nakikitang mga sinulat na Kapitan, ngunit may trabaho pala, magkakapatid pala, hindi na pala taga San Juan, ngunit doon bumoboto. All of these things come out in the validation. Thus, we have to cross them out. And then eventually, you will have to redo your payroll. Sapagat naisingit na yung ibang mga maling pangalan sa payroll, nung nakita ng validation na mali, uulitin mo na naman yan. And that is part of the liquidation process because once you pay out and eventually mag-liquidate ka, kung mali ang liquidation mo, mayayari ka rin. So, yung mga accountable officers ng City Hall, no, the people who are bonded who actually pay out, sila rin mag-iingat sapagkat liable silang makasuhan kung sakaling merong mabigyan sila ng pondo na hindi naman talaga dapat mabigyan. So, it is in both ends. that the bottleneck is happening.
Mayor, dyan sa San Juan nag-umpisa yung first Filipino case ng COVID. Kumusta na yung status kayo ng city? Kumusta na yung contact tracing nyo? Meron na ba kayo yung capability nyo for testing? And are you ready for May 15 easing of the quarantine?
Okay, I'll just open my graph here. No? As of April 29, kasi yung data for today hindi pa nakukuha fully no, dahil it's only 8:30. We usually get it late in the evening. As of yesterday, we have 237 confirmed cases with 35 deaths, but with 48 recoveries. And one thing that I've seen is that from the time that the first transmission was confirmed, this was on March 6 up to today. That's almost 7 weeks na, no? Halos 7 weeks na rin yun. Yung trend, no, o yung daily na nadadagdag na positive patients ay bumababa. So nakikita natin na gumagana talaga yung enhanced community quarantine because the people, their movements are limited. Hindi sila basta-basta nakakalabas ng bahay. Thus, the virus cannot also travel. Yung initial natin na hotspots, which were Green Hills and West Crame, nung unang bugso talaga pumalo yung bilang ng dalawang barangay na yan. But eventually nakita natin na nakokontrol na siya. And when you talk about mass testing, nagsimula na rin kami ng mass testing. In fact, we procured our own PCR machine and nag-tie up kami sa isang DOH certified and accredited molecular diagnostics laboratory. At the same time, we still get our allocation from the DOH dito sa mga accredited and government hospitals nila. And we are finalizing a memorandum of agreement between PhilHealth and the Philippine Red Cross, wherein under this MOA, the PhilHealth will pay for the 5 million peso share of the city of San Juan, and the same with all other Metro Manila LGUs, so that the Philippine Red Cross can allocate PCR test kits to us. So tuloy-tuloy lang tayo sa ating mass testing. In fact, we are now continuously testing our PUIs, our PUMs, and our frontliners. Meron din tayong COVID isolation rooms and COVID wards. And we also have lightweight modular container vans here at the San Juan Medical Center. Itong mga nabanggit ko, these are all dedicated for COVID-19 patients. And meron din tayong separate COVID-19 quarantine facility dito sa San Juan Science High School in partnership with the Xavier School. And we are also implementing itong sanjuan.staysafe.ph. This is a mobile app and the website wherein San Juan residents can register, and yung status mo for the day, pwede mong i-update doon kung meron kang ubo, sipon, lagnat, o maganda pakiramdam mo. And then yung back-end ng website natin, itong app natin, gumagawa yan ng heat map, and we see that in the entire city of San Juan, sa barangay na to, for instance, sa Green Hills, ngayong araw na to, 30 people ang inuubo, 50 people ang nilalagnat, and 2,000 people are feeling okay. So yung mga may symptoms, tinatawagan niya ng ating City Health Office at meron silang libreng consultation over the phone. If they need to be brought to the hospital, susunduin niya ng ating ambulance at papagumot ng libre. So that's our contact tracing through the app. And people from San Juan can also coordinate with our hotline, yung 137135. That's our COVID hotline. Meron din sasagot dyan na pwedeng makausap, no? May doctors, merong health workers, and we also have our BERTs, yung Barangay Health Emergency Response Teams. So ito yung ating on-the-ground framework na ginawa para kung ikaw ay merong simptomas ng COVID-19, agad-agad kang pwedeng kumonsulta o dumiretso sa hospital.
Mayor, now in the meantime, alam natin things are still fluid, notwithstanding some optimistic signs that you're seeing. saan po kayo kumikiling ngayon pagdating sa usapin ng May 15 and beyond May 15? With what you're observing, not just in San Juan, but in the rest of Metro Manila, saan po kayo kumikiling pagdating sa tanong ng is it time to start considering lifting and adjusting the ECQ?
Ako personally, no, I can answer for San Juan. Of course, yung ibang LGU, meron silang iba-ibang sitwasyon. No? Pero ako, for San Juan, nakita ko na gumagana yung ECQ. At ang tagal na rin naman natin nagsakripisyo, di ba? Natuto na naman tayo mag-adjust. Kita naman natin na pwede naman maging disiplinadong lahat, lalong-lalo na pag alam nila na yung buhay nila nakasalalay. So for me, honestly, if we see that the numbers are dropping and this drop will be sustainable, ako ayokong masyadong maaga na i-lift yung ECQ sapagkat baka masayang lang yung halos isang buwan at kalahating pinaghirapan nating lahat. You know, all of these sacrifices, itong walang trabaho, itong araw-araw tayo magpapadala ng food packs sa ating mga constituency, all of these efforts can go down the drain simply because we left it too early. So ako, since we're all here already, ginagawa na rin naman natin lahat to, halos nag-adjust na naman tayo. Alam kong mahirap, ngunit ako in the end, life over economy, no? Ako, ang economy, mababawi mo naman yan eh. Pagkatapos, no? Ngunit pag tayo magkasakit, yung mga may prone na mahawa ng COVID, yung mga may comorbid, yung mga senior citizens, no? We have to think about them because it's not just about jump-starting the businesses once again, but it's about ensuring that everyone will remain healthy. And that is my personal opinion. So we will see by May 15 if the numbers continue to drop, but still not at a level that we can safely say that we can live with. Then I believe we just have to continue. Dito naman sa San Juan, 6 weeks na po kami namamahagi ng ating food pack. So diretso yan on a weekly basis sa ating 21 barangays. Of course, we focus on our indigent families, yung mga nangangailangan. So, linggo-linggo tayo namamahagi ng food pack sa kanila. Tuloy-tuloy lang naman po ang ating mass testing.
Nawala si Mayor.
Mayor, are you still there?
Mayor, are you still there?
I think we lost Mayor.
Wala si Mayor.
Yeah.
Pero
We just
mukhang
lost the Mayor.
yung tono niya, mukhang magre-request siya ng medyo mahaba-habang ECQ, no? Kasi
Well, in fairness naman kay Mayor, I don't want him to get into trouble. Hindi naman niya sinabing i-request niya yung extension, but I think what he's saying is better
Mayor,
safe than
Mayor's back.
sorry.
Mayor, narinig niyo po kami? Mayor.
Yes. I can hear you.
Natin lang namin, Mayor. Posible ba kasi yung ibang cities, yung halimbawa, may ibang cities sa ibang bansa nagre-request ng extension ng ECQ eh. So are you saying it's possible for you to request an extension? Kung sakasakali na May 15, hindi pa kayo masyadong komportable.
Siyempre ako parati naman akong sumusunod kung ano yung directive sa atin ng national government. No? But if I feel that the directive will be counterproductive to our city, then of course I will always fight for what I believe my city will need. So titingnan natin yan ba dapat extend o hindi. But we will rely on statistics. No? Hindi pwedeng subjective decision. You have to have statistics to back up your recommendation to the national government.
But Mayor, what are the indicators for you that will make you push for example, recommending an extension?
Pag talagang nakita natin na tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pagtaas, no? Kasi like what I said, merong downward trend. But another tricky thing there is yung mass testing also, because right now we are testing more people. So yung downward trend posibleng dahil hindi lang sila na-test pa. Diba? Hindi dahil pababa na talaga, pero dahil hindi lang sila na-test pa. So titingnan din natin, since nagsimula na rin po tayo ng ating mass testing, we will see the data of from the time that we started our mass testing compared to the time that we haven't, and we will analyze kung indeed nagsistabilize ba, pababa ba, or tataas ulit. We have to also see kung ano nangyari sa ibang bansa, no? Singapore, for instance, ang ganda ng simula nila, palagay ko masyado silang nagkumpiyansa ng maaga, nag-lift sila ng ECQ nila. Ano nangyari? Bumalik ngayon yung COVID-19, nagka-second wave na.
Okay, Mayor, sige.
Mayor, kumusta naman po yung enforcement dyan sa San Juan? Nagkakaroon din ba kayo ng mga violent na mga arrests? At saka, alam niyo yung mga nangyayari ngayon, like yung sa Dasma Village, yung sa BGC. Do you have similar concerns there?
No, wala naman tayong ganong klaseng concerns dito sa San Juan, and I'm very thankful. No? I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the people of San Juan, lahat ng nanonood ngayon. Maraming salamat sa inyong kooperasyon at sa inyong pagtitiwala, because we haven't encountered anything such as what I saw in Dasma, and kailanman hindi naman nagkaroon ng kaguluhan dito sa aming lungsod, walang any violence. People understand that we have to undergo this. And I always explain to them, no, na lahat ito ginagawa natin para sa inyong kaligtasan. Hindi naman namin ito ginagawa para pahirapan kayo, ngunit para siguraduhin na manatili kayong ligtas at hindi mahawa mula dun sa mga positive patients. It's no joke being the epicenter or ground zero of COVID-19 in the Philippines, sapagkat dito talaga ang unang confirmed local transmission. And we really felt the effect during the first 2 weeks, yung talagang sabay-sabay nagkahawaan yung ating mga mamamayan, and eventually we saw the spread. But since then, like what I mentioned, I believe we have been able to control it. And natitrace naman natin yung mga hotspot areas kung saan talaga nag-concentrate itong may mga COVID-19. So malaking bagay din na meron tayong technology nagagamit in making decisions.
Mayor,
Okay.
ba kayo sa mga condo rules? Halimbawa, yung mga common area, pinapayagan nyo ba maglakad, mag-aaraw, yung mga unit dwellers? Anong rules nyo dyan?
Ay, nako, napanood ko nga yung sa isang lungsod, no, yung merong pulis na pumasok. At for me, and I'll just tell you this, I have not encountered any problem of that sort here in San Juan. And whatever the guidelines of the national government are, we follow. And masipag po kami mag-relay ng mga direktiba ng national government sa ating mga mamamayan. So whatever is allowed or disallowed, we simply echo this to our constituents. We have infographics, we have announcements, so people can call hotlines kung meron silang mga katanungan. So basically, kung ano yung pinapayagan ng national government, pinapayagan namin, and vice versa. Kung ano yung bawal, pinagbabawalan din namin.
Mayor, malinaw
Okay.
naman po yung position nyo that you said you want to be cautious when it comes to May 15. But as we've been hearing, most likely a decision will be for the entire Metro Manila, if not for the entire Luzon. Damay-damay tayo. It's not going to be one size fits all, but Metro Manila has to take a decision as a whole. Just in case the decision is to lift by May 15 or to have an adjusted ECQ or GCQ, what are some things that you think should be common sense to be adjusted in the new normal for San Juan and then for Metro Manila?
Well, anything that we feel will affect the health of our constituents, of course, we always have to pay good attention to it. So kung sakaling i-lift man, kinakailangan magiging mas stricto tayo talaga sa implementation ng social distancing, yung pagsusuot ng mask, yung wala mo ng handshake. Lahat ito basically, alam naman natin, ginagawa na natin ngayon, ngunit kinakailangan lalong makasanayan. And if it's something that we will have to adjust to, for instance, sabihin talaga, oh, sige, GCQ na tayo, medyo mas relaxed na compared to ECQ, and LGUs will really have to follow. So we just have to implement our own local guidelines to ensure that our constituents will be safe from COVID-19. So ano naman yan, we can adjust in case this is the directive of the national government. If by May 15 or a few days before that, I feel that San Juan still needs an ECQ, I can always write the national government if they will allow it. If they will not allow it, and if we will really have to comply, then we will comply. But with certain adjustments from our end here in the local government to ensure the safety and protection of our people.
Okay, San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora, thank you, Mayor, for joining us tonight.
Thank you also. Next time, sana ulit.
Magkikita rin tayo.
Sige, Mayor.
Maraming salamat po.
Salamat po.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Okay,
much.
we will just go into a gap, so please stay with us. We will be right back.
Ano, Nasil? Hello, Yusek Bengson. Yusek Bengson.
Ami,
Good evening.
good evening.
Hi, good evening po.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
Yusek. Good evening,
Robbie,
Yusek.
Ed, good evening. Good evening sa inyo lahat.
Napakalaking problema ng tourism.
Biyahe.
Oo, talagang tinamaan kami ng gusto.
Oo nga.
Excuse me po, mamami ko po intro body 2.
Ako.
1 minute po.
Okay. 1 minute. Ferdy, okay na? I-countdown nyo nga ako.
Sige po, i-chat ko po dito.
Hmm. $30. Welcome back to this special edition of The Chiefs. And now joining us is Tourism Undersecretary Benito Bengson. Welcome to The Chiefs, Undersecretary. Good evening po.
Good evening,
Thank you.
sir.
Good evening po.
Thank you for having me in your show.
We're with
Good evening po.
Robbie, Lucci, and Ed.
Good evening.
Tourism is one of the hardest hit industries in this quarantine. Ano? Walang makagalaw talaga. Kahit lahat kami gustong-gusto naming lumabas. And so anyway, your Tourism Secretary Berna Puyat said, you will be focusing na lang on local tourism, domestic tourism. That will be under your department, no? Tourism development. Ano po ba yung mga balak nyo as of now? Napakahirap ng outlook for tourism at this point. In your case, ano po yung mga balak ninyo?
Well, yung unang instruction po sa amin ni Secretary Puyat, gawin itong Tourism Response and Recovery Program. So this is basically our master plan for tourism during this particular period, itong response period natin na tinutukoy natin, and then more importantly, dun sa recovery. So basically, the aim of the TRRP, as we call it, is to help yung enterprises that have been severely affected by the pandemic, and also to help the workers. Now, itong napag-uusapan nating domestic tourism, we we believe that it will be domestic travelers, no, that will start to move around ahead of international travelers, no, lalo na pag na lift na po itong ECQ at saka mga GCQ.
How has it been, sir, in terms of losses? Malaki na ba? Malaki na ba ang loss natin in terms of tourism?
Well, alam mo, nakakahinayang nito pag tingnan mo yung January figures natin, we were actually growing by about 8%. And the decline in arrival started in February, nag-minus 40% tayo, and pagdating ng March, minus 70%. So, for the first 3 months of 2020, ang estimate natin siguro na bumaba na mga 35% ang bilang ng mga foreign visitors sa atin. And in terms of revenue, halos ganun din yung pagbagsak. So just to put things in perspective, last year, for the first 3 months, we generated about 134 billion, I'm sorry, 134 million dollars, no, for the first 3 months.
Okay.
Bumaba na to ng 85, no. So ito yung nakikita nating epekto. And of course, not surprisingly, the sharp decline actually happened in March of this year.
So are you writing off the rest of the year?
Not quite, no. The idea behind the response and recovery program is to mitigate the impact, no. And we feel that by focusing on domestic tourism, we will still be able to generate enough tourism activities to keep the enterprises afloat. Kasi ang pinakamalaking problema ng ating mga tourism enterprises, yung survival at saka business continuity. Ang inihiling po nila na tulong is in terms of yung working capital at saka yung wage subsidy. So dito po sa ating plano for the response and recovery, talagang pagtutuunan natin ng pansin itong mga fiscal measures na kailangang mabigyan ng atensyon para matulungan yung ating mga stakeholders in tourism.
But that's for
Yusek, could you give us some specifics on that, on the fiscal interventions as you mentioned? Because gaya nga po ng sinabi nyo, it's not just about recovery, it is about survival. Pahabaan po ito ng PC hanggang dumating. And it's not just a problem on the supply side, it's going to be a problem on the demand side as well. Kahit pa mag-open ang mga nations, people are not going to want to travel. Even if they feel it's safe, they're still going to have to hunker down and reprioritize their budgets and so on. So could you give us specifics on the matter of these fiscal interventions to support people just to be able to survive, to get to that better day?
Siguro umpisan ko yung kasama dun sa mandate ng Department of Tourism. So lahat po ng mga fees, yung mga accreditation fees, yung mga participation fees na normally kinokolekta namin sa private sector, we've decided to waive them until the end of 2021. So at least makatulong man lang kami na mabawasan yung exposure ng mga private sector stakeholders namin. Na nakipag-ugnayan na rin kami doon sa mga ibang government agencies na kung pa pwede, i-defer muna yung payment ng contribution, no, sa Pag-ibig, sa PhilHealth, sa SSS, dahil kasama to doon sa mga hiningi sa amin ng private sector. Kausap na rin namin yung mga government banks, no, particularly Development Bank of the Philippines, Land Bank of the Philippines, dahil gusto nating mabigyan ng access to low interest loans ang ating mga stakeholders, no, in tourism. Pero siyempre ang inaabangan talaga nating lahat is yung gusto nilang isulong sa Kongreso itong sa Economic Recovery Act kung saan maglalaan ng malaki-laking budget, no, for stimulus package.
Ang unang tatamaan, sir, yung mga travel agency, no? Anong tulong ang nakikita nyo para hindi naman ganun karami yung mag-shutdown? Kasi yun ang sinasabi nila in terms of the industry, talagang ang severely affected will be travel, no? So, in terms of small and medium, dyan din pinakamarami. Anong pwedeng gawin dyan?
Doon sa mga travel agents or operators, yung mga micro to small medium enterprises, ang number one, doon sa kailangan talagang mabigyan ng attention nga is yung sa working capital. Yung pangalawa is yung tulong in terms of deferment of certain taxes. At saka yung ano rin, binanggit din nila yung syempre yung tulong nga sa mga workers, no, by way of yung wage subsidy. So doon po sa sinusulong na bill sa Kongreso, meron silang pinopropose, no, na i-allocate na about 43 billion for tourism. At doon sa initial na computation na ginawa namin, approximately 36 billion will go to yung working capitals and loans, no, to help the tourism enterprises.
Okay. Sir, international travel, you're saying in effect, malamang yun, wala na muna yun. Pero even domestically, do you expect Filipinos to plan on traveling, even domestically?
Ang tingin po namin yung Filipinos will always have the appetite for travel. Basta matanggal na itong ECQ at saka GCQ at magkaroon ng mga protocols, no, in place, mag-uumpisang bumiyahe yan. Sa tingin namin, hindi mo na lalayo masyado yan. They will probably go by land to yung mga malalapit na destinations. Malamang ang kasama muna niyan yung mga pamilya nila, no? At magiging yan, siguro baka point to point lang muna ang titingnan nila. But ang napaka-importante dito is even while they're moving around, wag nilang kakalimutan yung mga basic protocols na medyo nakasanayan na natin over the last month and a half. Yung paghuhugas ng kamay, wearing the face mask, yung sanitizer. So ito na nga yung sinasabing sa tourism, meron din kaming new normal na pinag-uusapan. At nakikita namin that in the post-ECQ or post-pandemic period, we will have to comply with these new protocols, these new procedures, no, to make sure that makontrol natin yung sitwasyon at siguro balansehin na rin natin to make for a pleasant experience for our tourists, no, whether foreign or domestic.
Pero wala buffet. Bento box na rin daw ang i-deliver sa mga hotel room. Medyo hindi fun yun.
Well, totoo po yan. Pero napag-uusapan na yan. Siguro ilang araw na namin pinag-uusapan ano yung magiging configuration ng mga restaurants, no, yung mga F&B outlets, yung mga preliminary discussions, lumalabas na kailangan pag-aralan ng maigi, no, kung itutuloy pa rin itong buffet spread, no. Totoo po yan, napag-usapan din yung mga bento boxes o yung mga packed lunch, no. Ito yung mga adjustments na pinag-aaralan namin. The DOT is now crafting yung guidelines on health and safety, no, for accommodation establishment. So diyan na papasok yung mga bagong protocols, yung procedures na pag-uusapan diyan, yung imbis na kinakapkapan ka ng security pagpasok mo ng hotel, baka dapat meron ka na rin thermal scanner, which you're doing now, na pag-uusapan yung acrylic glass, no, sa may front desk, no, para ma-minimize yung contact between the guest and the front desk officer. So ito yung mga examples ng mga new normals na napag-uusapan sa hotels. And we're doing the same for the other sectors, no, sa land transportation, yung bus ba na dating 40-seater, pupunuin mo o dapat kalahati na lang. So, yun ang mga examples ng mga new normals na napag-uusapan namin.
Yusek, you've been talking to the other industry players, kasi tourism, it's a coordinated approach, Di ba? Lahat ng agency actually kasama dyan, Ano yung immediately gusto nyong makita to drum up confidence of people? Kasi sa ngayon, kahit mga tao, kahit gusto namin mag-travel, nag-aalala kami. Baka kami pumunta doon sa lugar na may infection, kaya ba namin paano yung namin, yung mobility namin, paano yung mga tao makakausap namin, how do you restore that kind of confidence? Pinag-uusapan nyo din ba yon? Ano-ano yung mga minimum measures?
Tama po yan, pinag-uusapan ng gusto yan.
Travel again. Kasi domestic tourism, we all want to travel, pero gusto namin, doon kami lang sa loob ng kotse namin. Saka iniisip namin, wag muna kami mag-hotel kasi baka merong infected dyan. How do you get over those fears?
Well, dalawang bagay. Unang-una, kailangan na yung protocols dun sa destinations are already in place. No? For example, ngayon magkakaroon tayo ng limit or carrying capacity dun sa mga tourist destinations or tourist attractions para hindi nagsisiksikan yung mga tao. Kailangan meron ka ring mga adequate amenities or facilities, no? Paghugas ng kamay, yung sanitizer na nabanggit ko na. But siguro from a marketing standpoint, importante rito yung messaging eh. And kasama dito sa messaging is sabihin natin doon sa mga domestic travelers na kapag pumunta ka dito sa lugar na ito yung mga safety protocols that are in place. And therefore, safe ka, walang problema sa infection. So ang balak namin is siguro at the right time gagawa kami ng prototype, siguro isang destination muna outskirts of Metro Manila kung saan pwede nating testingin yon. Kasi nga hindi naman bigla-biglang babiyahe itong mga domestic visitors. They will do it, baby steps yan eh. Tatansyahin nila
you said, speaking of protocols will have to translate to new capacities as well. It will have to figure into factoring it into your budget, into your plan. Given the emerging protocols and how stringent things are going to be, what new capacities do the operators of hotels, of restaurants, and other establishments will have to invest in and build into their calculations looking forward?
Well, napag-uusapan itong how to siguro for lack of a better term, how to COVID-proof yung mga accommodation establishments. So definitely magkakaroon ng reconfiguration diyan, retrofitting, pati yung mga equipment, they will have to acquire yung mga sanitizing or mga pag-disinfect na mga equipment. So binubuo po namin ito because what we want also is to work or to explore the possibility of incentives to be given to accommodation establishments that will have to refurbish or to repurpose some of their facilities in a post-COVID or post-ECQ period.
Okay. So, Mayor, in the meantime, doon po sa level ng mga LGUs, sa mga level ng, not just establishments, but LGUs, ano pong mensahe natin and what's the attitude when it comes to, Fiesta Islands tayo, yung mga fiesta, mga festivals, what tact do we take on that level?
Ang pinakamahalaga dito yung yung assurance na manggagaling sa LGUs. Dahil nga matagal tayong naka-ECQ, syempre bago ka pumunta sa isang destination, tatansyahin mo, meron bang mga safety protocols yan, nasan ba yung hospital na yan, malinis ba yung mga hotels na yan. So yung assurance ng local government is very, very important because like I said, kailangan bumalik yung level of confidence that we had before the pandemic. But kami naman sa DOT, we're very confident that in the months to come, it will really be domestic tourism that will keep many enterprises, especially in the provinces, afloat.
Paano yan yung, dahil bawal ang mga mass gatherings, paano yung mga festivals?
Well, totoo po yan. We will have to reassess itong mga festivals, yung mga piyesta natin. Kasi nga, these are large gatherings, kung minsan 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. Kailangan gumawa ng protocols din yung mga yung host LGUs or kung saan ginaganap yung fiesta na yon. But kami, syempre susunod pa rin kami dun sa mga guidelines na nanggagaling sa Department of Health with respect to yung social or physical distancing because as many people have mentioned many times over, this is going to be the new normal. Kung dati, like I said, pwede kayong 100 or 200 sa isang ballroom, baka bawasan na yan. So I think in the months to come also, mas magkakaroon ng maraming mga yung outdoor outdoor types of travel experience, at saka yung hindi masyadong crowded.
You said in the meantime, are you talking with stakeholders para habang ganitong naka-quarantine, i-upgrade yung mga facilities or linisin yung mga destinations? Meron bang ganong nangyayari ngayon? Is that possible even during the quarantine?
Well, yung mga are you talking about the accommodation,
the accommodations, lahat na, pati yung sa destination. Halimbawa yung Baguio City, they were preparing a major upgrade of the city para daw linisin, di ba? Meron ba mga ganong ongoing initiatives amid the quarantine?
Meron yung mga yung mga iba-ibang mga LGUs may mga sariling initiatives sila to make sure that they're ready when we are all given the green light to start marketing and promoting tourism again. Sa amin naman sa Department of Tourism habang hindi kami siyempre, everybody is naka-ECQ tayong lahat. Ang instruction ni Secretary Puyat is to do more training programs online, no? So over the last siguro 2 weeks or so, marami na kaming nagawang mga training programs, no? On for example, yung how to manage your enterprise during ECQ and post ECQ, how to manage your state of mental health, no, during this particular period. Meron din kaming marketing, and promotions on yung mga meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibitions, no. Tapos meron pang seminars on Filipino values. In other words, tuloy-tuloy po yung training because what we want is to be ready when like I said, the ECQ is lifted and we're given the go signal to start promoting again.
Yusek, I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs are happy to hear yung binanggit nyo ng mga incentives, subsidies that are being considered to help out, especially the smaller players, the SMEs, which make up the majority of the tourism sector. But now, notwithstanding all of that, yung mga SMEs, let's say I'm an entrepreneur, I'm making my calculations right now, I'm asking myself the hard questions. For example, ilan ang kaya kong i-sustain? Gaano karami talagang employees ang kailangan ko at ilan ang kailangan kong bitawan? I need all the information that I can get. You have access to the data. You're in touch with the entire global industry. What are the most pessimistic and the most optimistic projections in terms of the market? Once we start going back to a new normal, ano ba po yung ina-expect natin? Bumaba to what percent ang market na aasahan ng ating mga entrepreneurs?
Well, I'll start with the global picture, no. Yung sa projection ng United Nations World Tourism Organization, this was in the report that came out about 2 weeks ago. Ang projection nila is bababa ang global tourism arrivals from 20 to 30%. In terms of revenue, ang mawawala globally, no, is about anywhere from 300 to 450 billion US dollars. So that is the projection of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. So if you're talking about 30% global, most likely that will be the same kind of decrease that you will also see in this part of the world, no? In Asia, in Southeast Asia. In terms of employment, there's a projection also by the World Travel and Tourism Council that, close to 100 million people will be affected or displaced, no? For the whole of 2020. Kaya ang ginagawa namin dito in the DOT is we're doing our best, no, to ensure yung business continuity of the MSMEs, no, by providing them access to low interest rate lending facilities, and of course yung wage subsidies na actually nag-umpisa na, no, under the DOLE's Camp and Tupad program, no, nung March at saka nung first half of April.
Okay, Yusek Bengson, like I said, no, this is one of the most devastated industries. Baka po meron kayong final message to the stakeholders, lahat ng mga employers, yung mga workers nila, bukas Labor Day, baka po may final message kayo na gustong sabihin.
Well, siguro, ang message lang siguro, una lagi is yung safety first, no? Kailangan talagang, nadinig ko si Mayor Zamora kanina, ang sabi niya, kailangan talaga yung health, no, before anything else. But siguro, ang mahalaga talaga dito is that kailangan pagtulungan natin na maiahon natin ang tourism industry dahil ito nga ang isa sa pinaka-tinamaan ng husto. And one way of really helping is that pag nabigyan na tayo ng clearance ng ating national authorities and mga local executives, bumiyahe tayo, no? Bumiyahe tayo, tulungan natin yung ating mga enterprises, especially in the regions. Siguro itong pwede nating maging tulong, no, para sa turismo.
Okay, Tourism Undersecretary Benito Bengson, marami pong salamat for joining the Chiefs. We'll just pause for a break.
Maraming salamat po.
Go away. We will be back with someone from the private sector. Nawala si Ed. Mr. Lim, good evening.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear
yes,
me?
sir, you can hear us.
We can hear you.
Yes. Yeah, can
Okay,
hear you.
good.
Hi, good evening
Sorry,
po.
for the last
Good evening
time.
po.
Good evening, Robbie. Yeah.
Kumusta po yung quarantine?
Okay naman.
Last 40 po. Sir Robbie, ko po intro.
I do not know if they are going to let the senior going out.
Pwede na daw,
after
pwede.
this, ano.
Pwede daw, pwede.
Pwede na.
Pwede na.
Maraming umaangal eh.
Oo nga eh.
There are a lot of
20.
senior executives naka yun na eh. In fact, sabi nila, the best entrepreneurs should be around 60 to 70 because that's where you gain enough experience
Okay.
already, you know.
Oo nga.
Talaga.
Welcome back, the Chiefs. We are now in the final stage of our conversation for this episode. We are with Henry Lim of the Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated. Good evening, Mr. Lim.
Good evening, Robbie.
Good evening, Mr.
Okay.
Chua.
Good evening, Ami. Good evening, Luchi. Yeah.
Sir, the Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry came up with recommendations for recovery, for bringing, helping the economy get back on its feet. First question lang po, yung po bang recommendations nyo, does that come with a particular timetable? I mean, we're speaking of May 15, for example. Nakapeg po ba doon yung recovery plan nyo?
And actually, this one is really for we do not know when this pandemic will last, but hopefully during this time, like we are saying to fast track, even infrastructure, in BBB, build problem, mga natin, kailan ituloy-tuloy natin. This will be when we finally open up, and even during the time that we still have to be extra careful, because of this pandemic. This is what we are suggesting. With subsidies, mga financial grant, mga financial institutions, that they should at least give lower interest, and then the central bank trying to lower the reserve, give more liquidity. Lahat na itong pangarap mga negosyante natin ngayon para, a lot of business are really hurting right now. And this is what we suggest that at least, para makaahon itong mga negosyante natin ngayon.
Sir, in terms of the industries na sa pananaw ninyo dapat unahin na buksan, ano po yung magiging priority for you?
Yeah, of course, the mga essential items nakabukas na eh. Yung mga non-essential, it's how you look at it, whether ito ba essential and essential. Of course, you know that we are also in the paper business. There are also mga paper products, mga school supplies, whatever. But then I think they are putting it as the last priority kasi itong mga estudyante natin, I do not know when school opening will start, whether it will be August, September, mga iba sinasabi December pa nga. So these are all the items that we're trying to look at. But as far as businessman is concerned, the earlier, of course, the better. But as we see it, we should also take care, whether this pandemic will not spread further, and we really have to contain it. But we are one with the government. We will abide what our government has prescribed for us.
Sir, kanina kausap po namin San Juan Mayor Zamora, and he was saying, I would rather take a cautious approach kasi mahirap din yung magbubukas tayo pagkatapos biglang kailangan tayo tumigil ulit. Do you agree that it would be more costly to have a false start, and therefore it's better na as sure as we can be before we open up?
This answer is very relative, kung saan whether life over economy or economy over life. Pero sa ngayon, just to tell you, the state of the economy right now, yung mga empleyado natin, we have already exhausted the forced leave, we have already exhausted the 13-month pay, We are giving them even cost 8 for them to salary nila para just in case if we open, they can pay it over maybe 6 months, 10 months time advance salary sa kanila. But we cannot do it forever. No, I mean business has closed down. Kahit na anong klaseng galante ng employer natin ngayon, it's very hard to squeeze blood out of the stone kasi talagang kung walang pera pumapasok, how can you really pay your employees? And then at one time it may break also, no? So it's all depends on our government kung ano ba talaga nakikita nila na paano ba tayong pwedeng unti-unti para may revive na economy natin. And at least what's good for us, at least we are also in the rice business. Kahit na mga empleyado natin, wala silang mga if they exhausted everything already, we are still giving them 10 kilos of rice every month for them to tie over during this period.
Mr. Lim, nabanggit niyo na rin lang yung rice. I want to go there, no? You're seen as the guy behind hybrid rice in the Philippines. Ngayon, mag-i-import daw tayo. Kumusta bang status ng natin, ng rice production? Saka, since last year, naghihirap na yung mga farmers natin, local farmers, because of importation. Sa tingin niyo ba, okay lang kung mag-i-import na naman dahil yun daw ang balak ng gobyerno, that we will be importing more rice? Kailangan ba natin yun?
Actually, Lucy, if you pag nakita mo yung statistics ng government, I think we are 94% self-sufficient. We need only to import around 6% ng mga bigas natin. But for 6%, it's very easy, for us to fulfill that 6%. Kasi pag nakita mo, isang Pilipino, our per capita consumption is around 116 kilos of rice a year. Of around 100 plus million, so we consume around 12.5 million metric tons of rice every year. But right now, if you 6% lang kailangan mo, kakaunti lang naman talaga. It will not be more than 1.5 million metric tons of rice ang kukulangin mo ng every year. So what you can do is that probably if you use hybrid rice, then you can increase your production from 3 to 4 tons to more than 10 tons per hectare. We have 4 million hectares of rice land. Kahit na isang hektarya naka 2 or 3 metric tons na additional yield, we will be having 8 to 10 million metric tons of palay, equivalent to 4 or 5 metric tons of rice already. That will be more than sufficient for us to feed the population. Kaya lang hindi ko nakikita kung ano ba talagang diyan, bakit hindi talagang full support ang dating mga pamahala natin para for us to be self-sufficient. Pero talagang may solution diyan. And I'm happy that because of what happened this point in time, that Vietnam at one time sinasabi hindi na sila export. And Secretary Dar, I'm happy that at least nakita niya ang light at the end of the tunnel and he's trying to give additional subsidies for those farmers who are trying to switch from inbred to hybrid.
Mr. Lim, you're saying we can be self-sufficient in rice. Kaya ba natin na maging exporter of rice? Kasi yung mga rice varieties nyo, napaka-popular. They're among the most popular brands in the Philippines. Kaya ba natin
Yes, I'm happy, up to this point, we are the only company or rice mill in the Philippines that has been exporting rice even up to this point in time.
Korea.
Lalong lumakas ang export namin. Ngayon, pati Singapore nga, mo-order ng bigas sa atin. While we are importing rice at around $400 to $450 or even $500 per metric ton, I'm exporting my rice at $1,200. And these are really premium rice. And we are happy that there is also a market for premium rice. And itong sinasabi ko na over the number of years, I think I was with the president at one time, and I was telling the president, sabi ko, Mr. President, although you sometimes call mayor, sabi ko, do you know that if we have around 1 million hectares out of the 4 million hectares of rice land that we have planted to hybrid, we can be self-sufficient. Beyond 1 million hectares of our rice land planted to hybrid, beyond, we can even be a rice exporter. And I was telling him that I'm willing to put my head in the chopping block. If we have more than 1 million hectares planted to hybrid and we still have to import my rice, sabi ko, I can chop up my head anytime. That's how confident I am. And I'm happy that finally, I think the government is looking into this point.
Sir, sa tingin mo ba kailangan pa natin itong rice liberalization given our new normal?
That has always been last time because of this actually during that time bakit nag-import tayo ng bigas, hindi tayo talaga na walang bigas. At that time wala tayong murang bigas meron talagang bigas kaya lang mataas ang presyo. Alam mo bakit? Everything's really supply and demand. If you look at the whole thing, I've been in the rice business or agriculture for the last almost 20 years. And I know if you look at the whole picture, especially in Luzon, the biggest rice mill are concentrated in Isabela. Why Isabela? Kasi Isabela can get the rice palay up north from Cagayan, down south from Nueva Ecija and other regions, and they are really the ideal place for them to put up the rice mill. Dati, 10-15 years ago, there are only a handful of rice mills, mga big rice mills, around 10, 11. Hindi alam pa siguro sa 11 ang rice mill dyan. And at that time, what did they do? If during harvest time, the farmers will harvest, then they will start buying palay at 14, 16, 17, 18. Pag tumatama ng mga 19 to 20 pesos nila, humihinto na sila, they stop buying. Kasi puno ng bodega nila. When they stop buying, the price of rice, o palay pala, would drop to around 15 pesos again. That's why NFA would come in to pick up the pieces and buy palay at 17 to 18 pesos. Ganun naman talaga nangyari. But because over the years, the rice mill in Isabela has mushroomed to more than 100 rice mill. So can you imagine 100 rice mill trying to compete with each other to buy the palay? So the palay has always been hovering above 20 pesos ever since. There's one time that palay price that what we are buying is over 25 to 28 pesos pa. Kaya it never goes below 18 pesos, 17 pesos. Kaya hindi makabili ng NFA because NFA, their mandate is only to buy palay at 17 pesos. They cannot buy higher because they really is there just to help the poor farmers. And the price and what NFA is doing is that they are buying high palay and then selling low the rice para sa mga urban poor. Ngayon, because NFA cannot buy the rice and because the palay has gone up so high because of the demand from all the rice millers, so the prices of rice in the market went up. When the price of market went up, actually NFA should inject cheap rice into the market. But NFA has no palay in the warehouse. They cannot inject cheap rice. So the price of rice keeps on rising. But what should NFA do at that point in time? NFA at that point in time, they should really import. But because I think there is with the NFA Council and also with the NFA administrators, sabi ng administrator gusto ng G2G, NFA Council ayaw nila kasi baka meron whatever ng patong whatever. So for the longest time, 1 year, wala tayong importation ng rice. And then walang balang NFA. They do not have cheap rice to inject into the market. So the price of rice has really gone haywire. Kaya talagang pumapalo na mataas yan. So that's what happened. But it's not really a total lack, kulang ng bigas. Now, because of that, we do a rice tariffication. When the rice tariffication came over, suddenly 3 million metric tons of rice came in within 3 months' time, in which kailangan natin mga 1.5 million, pumasok ang 3 million, and it was during harvest time. Kaya bumaksak ang presyo ng palay from 25 pesos, 24, naging 12 pesos na lang sa ibang region. Kaya marami mga magsaka, pumasok sila, marami daw ayong magtanim ng palay. And this is what's happening at this point in time. But during that time, when the price of palay is very high, there's one thing that you did not notice. If you go to Central Luzon, they have the highest GDP growth. They have the lowest inflation. All the supermarkets, lahat ng mga establishment nila, purong puno-puno. May bagong mga sasakyan sila, bagong bahay, bagong pintura, lahat. Nakita the farmers are really changing their lifestyle. But for a very short while, bumaksang presyo ng palay, ngayon umiiyak naman sila. But I'm happy that at this point in time, when Vietnam said that they do not want to export and suddenly biglang pumalo ulit ang presyo ng palay, ay maganda naman ang nangyari sa mga farmers ngayon, and maganda na weather kaya magandang harvest. So this is what's happening, and I'm happy that the farmers are happy. Kaya we really have to balance it. The lifestyle, the farmers, for them to become richer, and also the urban poor, that meron silang murang bigas para sa kanila. And that's what make NFA really at that time very, very that we really need NFA, actually, if you ask me. And NFA was created by Marcos during that time really to para maka-level itong dalawa, urban poor and the farmers.
Mr. Lim, we also want to get to other recommendations of the chamber. One of the recommendations of the chamber, once we get to to more stability, is to really encourage more investments in the health sector. Ano po yung, I mean, and certainly this crisis has exposed the gaps in our health sector. Ano po yung mga opportunities and openings for the private sector? And what can the public sector do to encourage these investments?
Actually, yung health sectors na yan, it's not really one thing that the entrepreneurs are really interested at during the previous years. Kasi everybody is doing what? Real estate, di ba? Mga trading, whatever. But also tourism also. But it's not really in the health sector. But right now, because of what's happening, I think there will be more people trying to look at the others. Because you know that entrepreneurs, they are really they can smell something. If there's something that you can make additional money and investment, whatever, why not in the health sector?
Mr. Lim, do you have any final message that you want to convey to the government, for example, or to a fellow businessmen at this point?
Actually, right now, we are feeling the pulses of the businessmen. You know that the federation is an umbrella organization of 185 different business organizations over the Philippines, have chapters from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, and we feel the pulse. And at this point in time, everybody is really crying because of this lockdown, and there's no income whatsoever. It's good that we can still maintain our workers, at least for them to survive. But then again, there are a lot of investments, and we need the financial institutions very badly during this time. So what we would like to appeal to the government is that for the financial institutions to continue the credit. Kasi may mga ibang mga negosyante, may credit line sa mga bangko, biglang pinahinto ang credit line nila, di ba? Because they cannot pay some of the TR, whatever, because there's no funds coming in. But this should not be, you should not blame the businessman or entrepreneurs for this one, because this is a really worldwide pandemic. I think if things will go back to normal, you can still count on the businessman building up the economy. And we hope that during this time, kasi may sinasabi nila, minsan mga bangko, baka walang ulan, saka bibigay sa'yo ng payong, baka umulan, pinapabalik ang payong sa kanila. But this time, I think we should we should survive together, because at any point in time, I think the financial institutions should also need the businessman for them to also continue business, and the business should also rely on the financial institutions for the credit so that they can also expand the business. Kaya titignan natin paano itimpla ito. So the central bank governor has a very, very crucial role to do at this point in time.
Okay, Mr. Henry Lim Bonleong. Meron ba? Okay, Mr. Henry Lim Bonleong, President of the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry Incorporated. Marami pong salamat. Thank you for joining the Chiefs. That will be all for this special edition of the Chiefs. We hope what was discussed here will keep the conversation going. I'm Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star.
I'm Lucy Cruz Valdez of News 5.
And I'm Robbie Alampay. We are One News.